Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. This is CraftyRia. Today I'm going to recycle 3 Christmas cards. So we're going to start by using these 3 Christmas cards. We have this one. It has some stitching on it that is glittery. I don't know if you can see that. It looks like a sweater kind of, and it's glittery. And then there's this one here. It's kind of plain by itself, but I have a couple ideas to dress it up. And we have Santa. And the red is kind of a foil, so I do want to keep that red foil on there. So we're going to go ahead and work with those. I grabbed some envelopes out of my 1 envelope kit that I got at Pat Catan's. These use a card base measuring 5.5 by 4. So I took my 5.5 by 4 1/4 cards and I cut 1/4 of an inch off this edge. So these card bases measure 5.5 by 4. I already lined them up on here and I think they will all work. So I have one plain white one. One is this silvery gray color I thought would go perfect with this. And the other one has a white, an off-white, maybe a pearl shimmer to it, which I thought would go really good with this. So we'll go ahead and do that. And the plain white one will be for this one. I have 3 envelopes. The green one will go with the snowman, the red one will go with the Santa, and I thought the yellow one would go cute with here to pull out some of that yellow, since I don't know what I'm going to do with all the yellow envelopes. The green and red ones are obviously going to be used first, so I want to get creative and use the other ones. I'm going to set the envelopes aside, and let's go ahead. We'll start with the Jingle All the Way card. And I'll set those aside. I did take 2 of the card bases, or the flat cards they're called. They're just actually mats of cardstocks in the green to go ahead and match the snowman card. And I did grab a piece of red construction paper that will match either this card or the Santa. I'm not sure what I'm using where. I also went ahead and grabbed some stickers that I thought might go good on some of these cards, and my bling box. So I'll set these aside as well, and we'll go from there. I have my tape and my glue and all kinds of great things to use. So this card is going to measure 4 by 5.5, and I went ahead and measured this. And if I do it at exactly 4, it'll take me to this line right here, which I think would be great because then I could have the top and the bottom border. And then 5.5 will take me like right to the end of that Christmas tree there. So that image would go really good on the 4 by 5.5 size card. So I'm going to go ahead and trim it down. I will first cut the card in half, and I do want a little bit of a border of this card, so I'm going to cut right into that stitching a little bit on the top and the bottom. And I'll set this aside because I can use it for something else. Then I'm going to come on over, and what I want to do first is cut this red edge off in case I want to use this as this excuse me, this border for something else. So I want to kind of keep that border intact because I can use it on another project. And then I'm going to go ahead and trim this down a little bit more. Then I'm going to trim down this Jingle All the Way a little bit because I'm going to use that for the inside. I think it's really pretty. Trim that edge off just to make it even. And I'm going to try to trim it just so I get the words Jingle All the Way. There's still a little extra space on that side, so I do want to trim that down a little bit more because I want to make it look like it was meant to be cut like this. And I'm going to leave that alone, and I think I'll just mat that right to the inside like that because I think that'll look really cute. And let's see how the front looks so far. I'm going to have to trim it down on each side, but I do have a little bit of a border on the top and the bottom, and that's exactly what I want. I'm going to get as close as I can to this Christmas tree over here. And let's measure it up a little bit, and then I'm going to get as close as I can to Pluto over here, without actually cutting away any of the image, and we'll go from there. I think that's going to be perfect. There we go. I don't have to trim any of the image at all. If you look back at one of my past videos, you'll see a card that I made for Mike on a Bike, and this was one of the cards, and I wanted to show you how I actually made it. So I have that. And let me get my tape runner and put some tape on the back. This tape runner I got at the Tape Depot. The Tape Jungle also has them. I buy the refills at either one of those places or from Amazon. They're all about the same price. I think the Tape Depot and the Tape Jungle are really the same company. I get like the exact same emails from them. All right, so we have that just put right on there. And then this will go right inside. You can use a glue stick. You can use any kind of double-sided tape that you might have, or even white glue if you use just a tiny bit of white glue when you recycle your cards. Alright, so I will put some goodies on the front of this. On the other card I went ahead and used a couple of these, and I think I'll do that here. I really like these candy canes. I think they're festive. Whoops, it stuck to my finger. Really festive. There's a couple of candy canes on the top, just because that was like a blank spot there. And the Christmas tree has some red balls on it, so I'm going to go ahead and use some of this red bling. This bling, this large bling, I get at the Dollar Tree, and it comes on a string. Each one has on a string of adhesive, so I'm just peeling each one off individually rather than using it on the string. And that adhesive rips off real easy. So there we go. We got some pretty decorations on the tree. We have a couple of candy canes at the top, and the inside says Jingle All the Way. And I think I'm going to leave that card the way it is. I'll show you what I mean about this adhesive being on a string. It's on a string like that, and you can stick it down to your card, or you can peel them apart. It's really fun to work with and makes it really easy for crafting. So we have one card done in just a couple of minutes. So I'll set that card aside. And next, let's go ahead with the Santa. Sometimes you can just let the card you have do the work. Alright, so I'm going to cut the front of this card off as well, and I'm probably going to use that inside sentiment as well. And I'll cut out that sentiment inside. All right. So I just have that cut out. And sometimes if you have a nice size piece of white cardstock left over, I'm going to cut off that fold. You can save it and stamp sentiments on it or use it to stamp images on. This has a really nice feeling to it. It almost feels like a satin or something like that. It's really nice. Very nice. So I want to save the red foil on this image, and I'm going to cut around. I'm going to cut probably, I'm going to get as close to that edge as I can. I'm going to cut the bottom piece off first since it does say Merry Christmas. Actually, I'm going to cut out the Merry Christmas first. You can save that as an accent piece for something. I'll cut out the words Merry Christmas because I can use that on something as well. And now I'm going to cut as close as I can to that red. I'm going to turn it sideways, and then if you turn it sideways like this, you can line it up right with the track of the paper cutter. And that way you see exactly what you're cutting. I'm going to take a sliver off the bottom since there's a little bit of gray there. Try to get that sliver out of there. Okay. So there we have that. And that fits on there quite nicely. And it already looks like it's matted for me. However, I just can't leave it plain like that. You know, I have to do something to it. My card is not really flat. Okay. So I thought I might use some of these, one in each corner, this holly. Some of them are coming off of the package. And I would put them in the corners. I think I like that a lot. Okay, so let me adhere this down. I'll try to center it as best I can. There we go. And we'll go ahead and put some of these, one on each corner. Kind of like, you know, a photo corner. And these are dimensional. They're pretty, they're foam, and they also have the red on them. The red jewel. I want to try to get them even. push them down pretty hard to get them to stick. And then we have that. I think that came out kind of cute. It adds a pop of green on there. And we'll put the sentiment on the inside. However, I need a little something rather than just have it plain white on there. So I think I will use the back of this red card rather than cut into a whole sheet. Or actually I have a scrap of construction paper. I like this red a little bit better. So I will use this scrap of construction paper. There we go. And I'll trim it out. If you don't have a fancy paper trimmer, you can also use just scissors and just eyeball it. You don't have to be fancy. You could also use a ruler and a cutting mat or a cutting board from your kitchen even. When I did a nursing contract in Naples, I still wanted to make some cards, and I didn't bring any of my supplies with me because I flew down. So I used the cutting board from the kitchen to cut everything out. And I used a little craft knife that I got at the Dollar Tree and a cheap ruler that I got at the Dollar Tree. So you can really make it work. So I have that. There we go. So that card's done. We have two cards done so far in just a few minutes, really. Okay, my last card is going to be a little more involved because I have an idea. Still have the same size card base, the 4 inches by 5.5. Now this piece is too big. The Santa is, our snowman is a little bit too tall, but not quite wide enough. But I really like this border on this card. You can see it has some texture to it. So I want to use that border, but there's only a couple ways I can do it and size it down to my card. So I'm going to start by cutting off the front of this card. I want to cut it as close to the fold of the card as I can. While I have this here, I'm going to go ahead and cut the sentiment out. I'm going to save this piece because that's a good green. Cut the rest of the sentiment out. I'm going to leave that little decoration at the top of that sentiment because I think it just adds to it. Set those aside, set that aside. Okay, so I want to cut the snowman out and keep as much of this border intact as I can. So I'm going to do a magic trick with my paper cutter. You can also use your craft knife and cut it out as well. If you see on this, there are there's a marking there and a marking there. That's the center where the blade is. So you can line it up with these markings and those markings. And you can actually cut a window out of your card, which is what I'm going to do with this. So I'm going to line it up on here so it's flush against the top to keep it in line. And I'm going to eyeball this to try to make sure this piece is what I'm cutting, as close as I can to that. Actually, I want to cut into the border, just on that side of the border. And then I'm going to put my piece down and bring this down so that mark in the middle is as far down as I want to cut, and I'm going to do the same thing with the top. I'm going to stop it as far up as I want to cut. So I was able to just cut a slit out, and then I'm going to do that for all 4 sides. It's a little hard to do on camera because I can't get right over top of it and see. So then I have that, and I didn't quite get it into the corner far enough, but that's okay. I can take my cutter bee scissors and finish that cut. If I was able to look straight down on it, I'd be able to see it a little bit better. But there, so I cut that corner out. I noticed I'm not perfect with this one either, so I'm going to cut a little bit with my scissors on that one. Okay, then I'm going to go this way. So then see, I got it cut out 3/4 of the way, and now I'm going to do this end. Okay, there, and that should cut it out completely. Pretty darn close. Okay, so I'm left with this piece, and this frame is still intact. Well, this frame is obviously not going to work on that card, but there is a way I can make it smaller to fit the card. I'm going to go ahead and take my scissors and just eyeball from the corner to the outside corner, just like you would for trim or something like that in your home. So I cut that piece, and then I'm going to cut it this way. I'm not sure if this is even going to work. We're just giving this a try. And then cut it like that. Okay. So if I put this all the way to the edge there, I do have that it is longer than the card, which is good on both ends. And then this piece is probably going to be longer too. So what I'm going to have to do is figure out that side and then cut that bevel there. Okay, so it's going to be a little more complicated here. So what I want to do is take this and turn it over and mark it on the back. And I want to cut that piece off, but I want to save that piece because I want to get the same angle. If I could figure out how I'm doing it. Like that. Okay. I want to cut that same angle from that edge to this bottom piece. So I'm going to make a little mark on there where that bottom piece was. And I'm going to cut from the corner to that piece, just straight. Just so both of these are pretty much the same. Once I have the top done, then I can cut the bottom to match. I'm going to take my pencil mark away. Then I have my bottom piece, like that. And I'm going to just hold them together and just cut. Doesn't have to be exactly perfect, but it's pretty darn close. So then I have both of these pieces here. Okay. And then I have both of these pieces. I better make sure my card's facing the right way. So I have this piece here. I'm going to go ahead and stick it down with a good amount of adhesive. I don't want it coming off the edge. And then I'm going to do my trick. When I want to line something up with the very edge, I put it like this, and I put this like this. It's hard to see, but I'm going to put them both flat on the table. And then stick it like that. And that way both pieces are nice and flush with the card. I'm going to turn it over and cut off my excess. I don't need the bevel edges on this part. And I'm going to do the same with the back, or the other side. I'm going to put this flat on the table. I'm going to put this flat on the table. And then just line them both up. And cut that piece. And cut this piece off. There, so I have the two sides. And then I'm going to put these pieces on like that. So then you can kind of see what I was getting at with it. I want to get a good amount of tape all the way to the end of this. I'll do the same thing, stand this up and push this down, but this time I have to line it up left and right as well. There we go. If there's any extra tape, this tape just rolls off kind of nicely. Then I'll do the same with the top. So this card's a little bit advanced. It's instead of Christmas cards 101, it's 102, or 201, I guess. There you go. This piece has a little edge there, which I'm just going to cut off. It's not perfect, but it's darn close. So then that looks like a picture frame, and then I'm going to trim this card down and pop it up above the picture frame. So I need to make this card measure a little bit thinner on each side and then shorter on the top and the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and cut as close as I think I can get to the image on the left and the right side without taking anything away from the image, and then I will see how that looks. I will cut a little bit off the top and the bottom as well. Let's see how this looks together. I can take a little bit more off that bottom. I might want to take a little bit more off the bottom. It's just going to really affect the teddy bear's foot, which is not that bad. Take a sliver off the top. All right. Actually, I know what I was going to do with this, and I feel bad now that I didn't do it. I was going to use my scissors. I think I still can. So this is my blooper. I have these decal edge scissors that, you know, have been in my stash since back when they were popular. And I think I have plenty of room to trim all around the edge. And I'm just going to eyeball it and just do just a little bit off the edge. That's actually what I had planned to do, and then I forgot about it. And it doesn't have to be perfect. That's one thing about the decal edge, is they are very forgiving. You don't have to line them up perfectly like you do like with a scallop or something like that, because it is kind of a random cut. Okay. There. So then you have that. Now this side looks a little crooked here. I kind of went in. So I'm going to go and try to even that out a little bit better. Make it a little straighter. All right, that's a little bit better. There, we have that. Not bad. I kind of like the little decal edge. And I was going to raise it up, but I've decided not to because I do want to add some embellishments to it. I'm going to put adhesive down in the center part as well, since the edges of this are raised a little bit. And I do want it to adhere really well to the card. I don't want it to fall off. I'm going to line it up as best I can and just push it down. So there we go. We have that. Now I have these stickers, these snowflakes, and I thought they were neat because they were in different colors. And I thought the red ones would be cute. And then this lighter color one I thought would be neat as well. And how about this one with a little bit of this green on it? You know, it's always nice to do things in threes. So there we go, we have that. So that card is done. We can call that done. Actually, not yet. Hold everything. I forgot the sentiment. I want to see if I could get this sentiment to work with the piece that matches the card. But you know, there's that writing there. And if I do it, it's going to be just a really tiny sliver. So I'll go ahead and just take this green because it's not that far off. And I will mat it. I like the matting on the inside to be a little bit wider. I don't like it to be too skinny. There we go. So we got the old decorative scissors out. If you guys have the decorative scissors, get them out. Let me know what you're doing with them. When was the last time you used your deco scissors? I have a whole basket full of them in all kinds of shapes, and I love it when I can get some of my old tools out and make something with them. Where'd it go? Oh, there it is. I lost this for a minute. It was still on the paper trimmer. Okay, so we have that. There we go. I like that it dresses up the inside of the card as well. There's room to put their name and to sign it down here. So we have 3 cards done. I can't find what I did with the other 2. There they are. Okay, we have Santa, we have Disney, and we have the snowman. All right, everybody, let me know what you think. Leave me a comment below. If you're not subscribed already, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. If you have subscribed, please go check out my giveaway. I have just reached 100 subscribers and I am so happy. I'm doing a giveaway. There's another video that's on here that will have the giveaway. The deadline for that is September 13th, Friday the 13th, 2019. So if it's before that date, get on over to that video and enter to win. You guys take care. Thank you so much for watching, and go get crafting. Bye-bye.